The mother wound. Jessica found herself in the aisles of a pharmacy, specifically the card aisle, reading card after card. She had really been there longer than expected. She was looking for a card for her mother. This was an especially difficult task today because her relationship with her mother was just different. And she couldn't find a card that really captured her situation. Really, she had always struggled in her relationship with her mother. She felt jealous of the other kids at school, especially the girls who would brag about how close they were with their mom. My mom is my best friend, some of the girls would say. And it would hurt her because she honestly couldn't say that. And it wasn't because Jessica didn't want to love her mom. She did want to love her mother. It wasn't because Jessica didn't want to have a good relationship with her mother. She did want to have a good relationship, but it was just strained. She remained close to her mom and in touch with her mom, but her mother was just different, not always emotionally connected, a bit distant and aloof. Sometimes the love was like conditional, and it led to a lot of hurt if Jessica were to be honest, but she found that speaking up to her mom never really led to solutions. Her mother wasn't quick to take responsibility for her part in Jessica's pain. Jessica was suffering from what many have called the mother wound. A mother wound is used often in pop psychology as an esoteric term referring to intergenerational trauma handed down amongst women for the trauma that they experience living as a part of patriarchal societies. Today, we use mother wound as a psychological term, and we'll be discussing it as a psychological term describing the emotional pain and trauma that can result from being mistreated by our mothers or having a dysfunctional relationship with our mother. Also, this can occur when our mother is abandoning, neglectful, even just in an emotional sense. So you may have had a mother that was there, but you may still have a mother wound because although she was there physically, it's like emotionally, she was not there for you. There are many facets to what can make up a mother wound, and it's different for everyone. But it is always caused by this dysfunctional mother figure in our life. So if you had a mother that was emotionally neglectful, that's where she consistently fails to provide emotional support, love, validation. It can leave you as a child feeling ignored, unimportant, or unloved. If you contextualize her actions as meaning that you were unimportant or unloved, then that can create a mother wound. It can create a deep sense of abandonment and unworthiness in us. Some of us had mothers that told us directly we were unimportant or difficult to love. One woman said, my mother said, I was like hugging a porcupine trying to love me. For others, their mothers were physically or verbally abusive. Physical and verbal abuse by a mother can cause deep emotional wounds and feelings of fear, shame, worthlessness, frequent criticism and insults from our parents, demeaning marks from a mother, can have long-lasting emotional scars that are not visible on the outside, but they are very real. It can really bring down our sense of self and our sense of well-being to have a mother that cut us down with her words. For some, they had a mother that was absent or abandoning. On one end of the spectrum, a mother who is emotionally and physically absent from a child's life due to such factors as divorce, work, substance abuse, or other mental health issues, including ADHD. They can lack the support for their child, the availability emotionally for their child, and cause the daughter to later look for emotional unavailability in their future partners. These issues significantly impact a child's development and contribute to this mother wound. For some, they had mothers that were on the other end of the spectrum because their mothers were enmeshed or overly involved. So in this case, the mother who's controlling, intrusive, enmeshment is where all of your business and dealings are wrapped up with the mother. So as a child, you can be overly enmeshed with the mother if she's always helping you with your homework, always helping you with your friendships, always helping you with your relationships, and she's involved in everything that you do, from your personal business at home to your personal business at school. Enmeshment later in life can look like still living with your mother into adulthood, your mother controlling your finances or being involved in your finances, being a signer on your bank account, being a co-signer on your car, co-owning or owning your belongings. So these things keep us kind of locked in a relationship with a unhealthy, overly controlling person. And these things are what we refer to as enmeshment. Enmeshment can hinder a child's development. It can hinder a child's autonomy and cause them not to develop a sense of self and a sense of independence. And that can lead to feelings of suffocation, lack of personal identity, and difficulty establishing healthy boundaries. We could have unresolved personal issues with our mother, such as unresolved trauma, mental health problems. There could be substance abuse issues. Maybe our mother was an alcoholic or used other drugs to cope with her pain and trauma. And maybe the mother struggled to provide necessary care or stability. And these issues, again, can create a mother wound. Unrealistic expectations or conditional love. If you grew up with a mother who placed unrealistic expectations on you as a child, only showed love and acceptance when certain conditions were met, maybe an academic achievement, or your personal appearance had to be a certain way, or you had to conform to a certain belief system. That can create a sense of never feeling good enough. Again, a loss of self, a loss of identity, low self-esteem, self-doubt, chronic feelings of inadequacy, right? So I can't name all of the situations that may have created a mother wound for you. But when you look at your life now and how it was affected by your childhood, you may see what you would identify as a mother wound. You may see that due to the imperfection or the dysfunction in your relationship with her, now you find yourself struggling in your personal relationships, romantic relationships, relationships with your children, relationships at work. So what symptoms do you face? What do you notice in yourself? Do you notice in yourself a sense of low self-esteem, low self-worth? Do you notice in yourself a fear of abandonment? Like you're afraid that your spouse or your loved one is going to leave you all the time? For some, their fear of abandonment is so great, they actually avoid relationships altogether. For others, because they have anxious attachment, which is a fear of abandonment, but still a intense need and a desire to be with someone, they will do everything to be with someone, to be in a relationship, but they will feel so fearful in that relationship that they're going to be abandoned that they do things to sabotage the relationship, as if to say, let's hurry up and get the pain over with. This can cause intense grief, not just for the individual with the abandonment wound, but for their partner, even if their partner is a securely attached person. For some, they're experiencing difficulty with boundaries. Lack of boundaries is often traced directly back to that mother wound. Mother wound can cause someone to struggle to assert their needs, struggle to have a strong sense of self or establish proper limitations, to feel like they don't believe in their own authority to set rules and statutes for others. For many who struggle with boundaries, they may oscillate between being overly accommodating and being overly guarded, or aggressively assertive to the point of hurting others with their words, or being overly passive. Codependency can occur when someone had a mother that was also codependent. You may have been parentified as a child, so the mother would go to you with the problems. One of my clients said that her mother would bring her into the room to act as a mediator when she was fighting with her husband. So here, this grown adult is bringing a 8-year-old, 9-year-old girl in the room and saying, "Here, sit here while I'm having this argument with your father or your stepfather." These things can create a mother wound. Someone who is experiencing this type of trauma could find themselves having intimacy issues. They may struggle with healthy relationships. They may struggle to feel trust for others. They may struggle to make themselves vulnerable. They may struggle with emotional closeness. They may have a difficulty expressing their emotions or connecting on a deep level to others. They may struggle just to make friends. They may have had a mother that wouldn't allow them to get close to other children as a child, and now they find themselves struggling to make friends in their real life. You could struggle with chronic self-doubt. You could struggle with emotional difficulties. What symptoms do you notice in yourself? A really common one is perfectionism. Perfectionism, having unrealistic expectations due to the unrealistic expectations you had placed upon you as a child. Perfectionism is the invisible culprit behind your procrastination. So if you notice that you're the type of person who tends to wait and wait and wait on a project and procrastinate, take a look at your perfectionism. Because if you set unrealistic high expectations for everything you do, you may find it's very difficult to just start a project because you're afraid, because you know it's going to be a lot of work and you're going to be totally absorbed in it. And you're afraid you're not going to be able to meet the expectations, or you know what it takes to meet those high expectations you're setting for yourself. That makes you not even want to get started on a project. So perfectionism causes us to actually procrastinate. It can also be an issue of seeking external validation from others. So we're trying to get things done to the umpteenth degree so that someone will build us up, make us feel worthy, acknowledge us. But in reality, you do all that work. You work so hard, and sometimes it doesn't get noticed. And even if you get an attaboy or attagirl, then it's really setting a new expectation that is extremely high for next time. And you'll be expected to perform at that same level in the future, which is also a problem and causes more procrastination. So how do we solve this? How do we heal the mother wound? Well, if you have your notes, you can take note. I'm going to break down to you what you can do to actually heal the mother wound if you're noticing for yourself that you have the mother wound. You'll notice that a lot of the symptoms of the mother wound are the same symptoms as CPTSD, which is complex post-traumatic stress disorder. So specifically in this case, we know where it was caused, mainly in that relationship, that strained relationship with the mother. So your first key to solving or healing the mother wound is to develop the skill of healthy detachment. It's developing the skill of healthy detachment. So you can just put in your notes that word, detachment. To detach from something, of course, is to disconnect. But we have to disconnect on various levels from our mother and any toxic persons in our life who are continuing to exacerbate this mother wound. Now, what are the ways in which we may need to detach exactly? Well, there's physical detachment, emotional detachment, spiritual detachment, and energy detachment. So let me break these down. Physically detaching is exactly what it sounds like. It's no longer being physically present with someone or something else. So if you physically detach from a neglectful mother or an abusive mother, then you're no longer spending time or seeking a companionship from your mother. You're no longer pursuing your mother as a source of companionship. You would also be breaking the bonds of enmeshment. Enmeshment, again, being that physical material attachment where you're living together, working together, doing everything together with your mother. It may be high time to detach physically from the mother. Why? Because the mother is continuing to exacerbate these issues if she has not done the work to heal, if she has not done the work to be able to identify her part in your trauma and to acknowledge her part in your trauma. That lack of acknowledgement leads you to further and further trauma the more you are exposed to her. So maybe you would say, well, Roman, everything is fine between me and my mom. We don't fight. There are no current issues that we're running into, and that would be good. But if you know that there was hurt and there was pain that was caused by her, and you've tried to address this with her, and she won't acknowledge your feelings, she won't acknowledge her part in your trauma, then just continuing to be around her and be with her is a constant reminder to your subconscious that your emotional needs are still being neglected. As a result, you are further traumatizing yourself and you're warping a deeper trauma bond, which is an illogical attachment to an abuser. Does that make sense? So you want to physically detach from the mother, not seeking companionship or seeing her as a source of companionship, breaking the binds of enmeshment. Emotional detachment is a form of detachment that will help you heal by no longer looking to your mother as a source of love and validation. Emotional detachment is no longer looking to your mother as a source of love and validation. Let's be honest. It's been 30 years, 40 years with this woman. She has never been a consistent source of love in your life. If that is the description of your mother, then it only makes sense to let go and to no longer try to get that love. Many women and men make the mistake of believing that the wound can only be healed by the mother because it was created by the mother. They feel that the wound would have to be healed by the person who created it. And so they keep going back to the mom and back to the mom and back to the mom. They may keep bringing up the issues, hoping that the mother will at some point just acknowledge and heal them. But it's time to let that go. A veteran of war does not need to go back across enemy lines where he was originally wounded to get the soldiers that shot him to heal the wound because they are the ones that inflicted the wound. No, he would go to a friendly nurse on his side of the lines in order to get that wound healed. Does that make sense? If we're in a car accident that traumatizes us, We don't need to go back and get the people who we crashed into all in the same place and reenact the car accident in order to get healed in some way, or reenact the moment of the car accident in order to get, we don't need to go back to the source of the pain, to the source of the destruction. When someone is a source of destruction, they are likely to give us more destruction. Yes, your mother is a source of pain, abuse, and destruction for you. If that is the case, then you wouldn't go back to her expecting her to heal you. So where do we get the emotional healing? Well, when you were a child, if your parents failed to buy you something, once you become an adult, who's supposed to buy it for you? Your parents? Once you become an adult, you're responsible for yourself financially, right? So it's up to you to buy those things. If you wanted designer jeans and your parents didn't get them, then now that you are an adult, you go buy the designer jeans. So if you wanted to be loved and validated and supported as a child, then, and you didn't get it from your parents, then who should you be going to get it now? You are responsible now for your mental health and well-being. You are the source of love now. You are the source of validation, of building the self up now. So you have to go to yourself. And it's easier to learn to do that when you detach emotionally from the mother. Let her go. She's an adult. She's lived her life. She made her choices. Now it is your turn to live your life, not hers, to live your life. So how do we emotionally detach? We stop looking to our mother as a source of love or validation. We stop going to our mother to heal us. Spiritual detachment may also be necessary. Spiritual detachment is no longer looking to the mother as a source of wisdom, guidance, connection, or fellowship. Spiritual detachment is no longer looking to the mother as a source of wisdom, guidance, connection to God, or fellowship. Pay attention. Pay attention. Many mothers are spiritually abusive. Many mothers will tell their children, I have a direct connection to God. If you disrespect me, you are disrespecting God. And they will twist the scriptures and say, you are supposed to honor your parents and you are supposed to obey the parents, without mentioning that obeying the parents applies to children. And honoring the parents applies to honorable parents, not abusive, neglectful, abandoning parents who have wicked intentions toward their children. Nevertheless, we are honoring our parents by making sure that we're healthy, that we're doing well mentally, physically, spiritually. That does bring honor to our parents, doesn't it? Yeah. So don't allow your mother to twist the Quran or the Bible to make you believe that you are a slave to them for the rest of your life. That's not how it works. You were not actually born a slave. You were born a child that would grow into an adult that would have its own purpose in life. So you should be pursuing your purpose, pursuing your connection to God. Instead of thinking you need to spend more time with the mom, you need to spend more time with yourself and pursuing your personal relationship with your creator. Detaching energetically, or an energy detachment, is no longer listening to the mother's words or reading the mother's words. If your mother happens to be toxic, then her words have a detrimental effect on your self-worth, self-esteem. They cause depression, they cause anxiety, they cause anger. So if your mother causes all of those negative detrimental effects on you, energetically, you need to detach by no longer listening to her words or reading them so that they no longer have an effect on you. Does that make sense? That's why every device comes with a block feature, so that we can pick certain people and we can block them. And hey, it's a temporary feature. So you can block someone for a day, a month, a week, whatever you need to restore your peace and your balance. Don't be afraid to block your abusive mother. In fact, be eager to. Well, what if something happens, or what if she dies? I guarantee you, you will find out. Someone will contact you. You're not going to find out like 3 years later that your mom died. Other people still have your number and still can contact you. So they'll let you know. Once someone is dead, it doesn't really do you any good to have found out. I mean, right? If she dies, she can't text you anyway, right? So just go ahead and block. Sometimes we're afraid, maybe, what if someone has a health issue, or they get in an accident, or they need. Your parents had you. You were their responsibility to care for. So you are not obligated for the rest of your life to care for them. It doesn't make sense that the 18 years they give you gets repaid with the rest of your life. That's not logical. Now, if you're a loving person who decides to care for an ailing parent, that's excellent. But we need to make personal decisions based on our circumstances and the parent that we are dealing with, because it's not the same for everyone. So don't assume that it's the same for you and that you must take care of your mom and be there for your mom, and everything she wants you must do because that's what your neighbors do, or that's what people in your culture do, or that's what people in your family. You look at your individual situation and you make the choice to do what's healthy, because if your parents truly love you, they want you to be healthy. They want you to be happy. Now we need to do the inner work to heal ourselves. So everyone always throws terms like that around, like, we got to do the work. Okay, what does it mean? How do we do that? Let me break it down for you. In your notes, you can put these three sections of work: your beliefs, your bias, and your behavior. Your beliefs, your bias, and your behavior are what have been affected by the wound of your mother. So that is what you need to change in order to feel better, to be healed. To be healed from the mother wound means that it will no longer affect the way that you view yourself and view the world. That would be your bias. It will no longer be the precedent with which you base your beliefs about yourself and the world. That would be your beliefs. If you're truly healed from the mother wound, then it will no longer affect the way you act and how you go about life. And that's where behavior comes in. So your beliefs, your bias, and your behavior. Now, how do we change beliefs? Well, first you'll identify, what are the detrimental beliefs that I did incur as a result of not feeling loved or feeling neglected or being mistreated? What were they? Identify them. Maybe you believe, I'm not lovable, I'm not worthy, I'm not beautiful, I'm not pretty, something like that. Write them down. Then you need to adopt the opposite belief, because the opposite of a detrimental belief is a beneficial belief. So as outrageous and as crazy and uncomfortable as it may seem, you must adopt for I'm not lovable, the opposite. I am lovable. And for I'm not beautiful, the opposite. I am beautiful. And for I'm not worthy, the opposite. I am worthy. So you adopt the new beneficial belief. How do we do that? How do we make our mind change from what we used to believe? It's so hard, isn't it? Really, we should be updating our beliefs all the time as adults, as humans. We should never be content or complacent with what we believe. We should be updating them all the time. And it's not hard for us to. When we watch the news, we update our beliefs. When we buy a new car, we update our beliefs. When we buy a new house, we update our beliefs, so that you're not waking up the next day saying, no, I don't believe this is my new car because I had a belief that my old car. No, you believe when you get a new car that that's your new car. When you get a new house, that's your new house. When you get a new boyfriend, you believe that that's your new boyfriend. Why? Why are you able to change your beliefs based on what you read, watch, listen to? How is it that you're able to change certain beliefs? in all of these cases is because you've been presented with sufficient evidence. We form our beliefs based on evidence. When you were signing the deed to your house, you were giving yourself evidence. Wow, I'm getting a new house. And then when you walked in with your key and you went through all the process, you started to believe, this is my house. And over time, you started to believe that your new car was your new car and your new boyfriend was your new boyfriend. Now, don't get me wrong, right? The old subconscious pathways are there so that we do get surprised when we see the new car in the driveway the next morning, just for a split second, right? Or you wake up in a new house and you go, where am I? Just for a split second, right? But then you remember. And over time, that goes away. Why? Because we have a new belief and we're able to adopt new beliefs. The brain is not made of stone. The brain is an organism. It is made of or it has neuroplasticity. It's plastic in the sense that it can be changed. The brain can be changed. So how do we change a belief? We present evidence. It also helps to use repetition. But we present evidence and then we're able to change our beliefs almost instantaneously. So present evidence for why you're beautiful. Present evidence to yourself for why you're lovable, why you're worthy, why you're capable. And adopt the new beliefs. Cancel out altogether the old beliefs. Even if it's the way you feel, cancel it out. And over time, you will start to feel according to your new beliefs. And hopefully it will affect the way you think, which is our bias. The bias is the angle at which we view the world and ourselves. What can happen when we had a critical or a negative mother or a violent mother is we can develop a negativity bias. We came up with negativity bias as a way of keeping ourselves safe. So we reprogram the negativity bias by retraining our mind through repetition. Over and over, positivity bias. We have to do the reps. So we start thinking in positive ways about our world and about ourselves. And that retrains our mind to think positively about our world and ourselves until it becomes natural and automatic. The subconscious mind can be trained through repetition and consistency. And finally, we have to change our behavior. So behave not according to your subconscious, but according to the conscious mind. Think out everything you do. Wounded behavior such as seeking love from others needs to stop. Yes, seeking love from other people is wounded behavior. It is okay to be loved by others. It is beautiful. It is wonderful. It can feel good to be loved by others. But we shouldn't seek it with any more veracity than we would seek a new car. It's a spice of life. It's nice. It's no longer a need like it was when we were children. Adults can live years of their lives without being loved by another person. So instead of making ourselves feel like we are missing out on something so grand, let us recognize it as it really is. This is nice. It's something I would like to have, but I'm not going to cry over it at night, just like a new car. It's something I will pursue. But not with the same energy and veracity as if my life depends on it. Many people wonder what happened to Jessica, who had that strained relationship with her mom. Unfortunately, her mom never took responsibility. Her mom never got better. In fact, even when her mother was dying and Jessica was trying to care for her mother was still hateful and spiteful at times, and manipulative. And so Jessica learned to detach energetically, emotionally, spiritually from her mother. As a result, she developed a stronger sense of self, and she was able to grow and go on to help others. Now she's a teacher, and she helps children to develop a strong sense of themselves and to learn how to speak up, to be assertive, and to set boundaries. You can do this too. You can heal from a mother wound. If you need help, work with myself or a trauma specialist that's trained by me. You can find one on the website mindfreed.org.